Cursive has a new feature where you can create these little inset HTML things. The thing that we're going to be looking at today is a idea for a Visual Studio plugin. Calva, we're experimenting with some ideas on how we can have a similar experience there. There's one limitation, which is that the HTML views can't be inset as far as we know. We have a reliable way to render these. Yeah, as you can see, it produces the visualization. This is displaying Clay produced on a Clay server. And the nice thing about that is Clay has some features like a WebSocket. Great that we can actually show these visualizations. I want to talk a little bit about how it's working. Cursive uses tag literals to signal that you want an inset HTML thing. I'm sorry, in Calva, I'd like to introduce this notion of a flare. It's really exactly the same thing. It's just a special value that the REPL client is going to see and do something with. So here we're just going to try our first flare. And all we do is we just eval the current form. Calva saw that it was a flare and it was of type WebView. It displayed this HTML. Not just web views. It's an info message. Let's just evaluate that. And you can see down the bottom here, it popped up a little message. I'm going to say, do I like flares? Yes, I do. And it actually responded to that. This is a little bit zany, but you can specify like once you get the answer, call back into this function. And what's zany about this is like this function is declared in user space. Um, yeah, but this stuff is all happening in the IDE. Anyway, obviously you could shoot yourself in the foot pretty badly if you made an infinite callback there or something, but I guess you could always just restart your IDE or something, or maybe redefine the function would be enough. Yeah, so coming back to flares, we can put HTML in there, but we can also put a URL in there. Let's just try that. Yeah, so now you can, I guess, browse the web in a little panel if you want to. Um, the reason I'm pointing this out is that this is the method that Clay uses so that it can host its web socket and change things. But there's a little trick here. This URL is actually just setting HTML that contains a frame that sources the remote URL, iframes inside iframes. So flares are just one-way messages from user space to the IDE. The REPL client inspects all the values it receives, and then when it sees a flare, it acts on it. Flares are IDE specific, I think, because Calva and Cursive will probably support different features. Yeah, I chose to use this encoding just because I like it. A few details here, like this key you can use to kind of target. It'll recreate a new window every time if you don't specify a key. The key kind of says, oh, you want to put it in that particular window. So if it's already open, it'll just reuse that. Flares are just generic IDE behaviors. They don't have any, like, there's no code dependency on Clay or Kindly or anything like that. So that's why I feel like it's reasonable to include in Calva itself. It's exposing a little bit of IDE functionality. How much you want to expose is maybe a good question, but I think web views and infos are extremely useful. That's it for now. If you want to see the code, it's on GitHub. Have a great day.